So I got some custom hair actually from dollyhair.com. This is my rerooting tool. This is what I use to reroot with. So I make my own needles, and to do it you just go to Walmart, buy a pack of thin sewing needles, and then you just cut the tops off with wire trimmers. And there you go, you've got like a little fork right there. So the name of the game to rerooting is you pick out a strand, and you don't want it to be super thick, but you don't want it to be super sparse either. You want it to be like a happy medium. I'll show you that in a minute. You wrap it around your finger, you put it through the fork, then you pull taut, it's around the fork, and then you inject the needle into the doll's holes. Now this doll has a lot of hair holes, and I've made a new part line to go with the hairstyle that I've decided on. You don't have to, depending on how you reroot, you don't have to fill everything, but I will fill everything because I'm going to put on a movie, and I'm going to be immersed in my movie, and I'm going to reroot the doll at the same time. It is the best way, the most soothing way to do a doll reroot is, at least for me, I light a candle and then I put something on the TV. And then when I do, I'm almost done by the time the movie is done. And if you're not, you just put on something else. Now I am rooting her on a little body that I have in my little Barbie morgue. This doll body is awaiting a head whenever I find one, and then whenever she's all good and done, she will be transferred onto her regular body. Let's talk about the rerooting tool. Where to get one. I've had this rerooting tool for probably 10 years now or more. I got this off restoredoll.com. You can get these rerooting tools anywhere where you can buy doll hair. Basically what this is, you could even make one, like say you want to go to Walmart, you don't really want to wait or pay that price. You could get an X-Acto blade, and you can replace, see like right up here, that's basically what this is. It's like an X-Acto blade, or it's like one of those tools where you twist in the screw or anything like that. That's basically all this is. You can open it up by twisting and then close it by twisting back. You don't need an actual doll rerooting tool. My first rerooting tool I did make all by myself. I used a old X-Acto blade handle and just used that, and it worked fine. But I've been using this for a while and I do like it. So do you need a rerooting tool, official rerooting tool? No, but I do like it, so I do have one. Like I said, with the needle head, you want to get a needle head that can easily go into the holes that are either already in that doll's head or that you want to make into the doll's head. So you don't want to use a very thick needle because you are going to make a larger hole than what you really need to. And plus, you don't need to have really thick sections of hair. I will show you how thin the hair ideally should be and why it should be that thin. Look at this doll's hairline right around here. This doll's hair was very sparse around the hairline. You don't want to make it extra thick. If you were to make it extra thick, what you're going to run into is ripping into her vinyl. And that is a mistake that sometimes even I make now. You know, like where you get a little bit too into something that you're doing and then you start plugging in hair. But these thicker hair plugs can actually go over here on the sides, if you can see that, because they're further apart. Whenever you get to the hair plugs that are closer together, those are going to be the thinner plugs. Those are going to be the ones that you want to put the thinnest amount of hair that you possibly can. I'll show you how I reroot my doll's hair. So I take a very small strand of hair. Do you see how small that is? That is very small. I'm going to wrap it around my finger like so. I'm going to look at it and see if it's even, and it is. And it doesn't have to be even too, but for this doll I do want her hair to be moderately long. So I've got it wrapped around my finger just once. I'll even do it again for you. I'm gonna do it 3 times, then I'm gonna go on my merry way and then keep doing it. I just want to explain how I do this process. So I wrap it around my finger like so. One loop ought to do it. I take the rerooting needle where that fork is that I showed you before. See how it's in the hair? It's holding on to the hair. I'm gonna put my finger, my pointer finger, on top of the fork so the hair does not come out. I'm taking my other finger out, and then I'm pulling taut. Now I'm gonna take this hair and I'm going to put it into the doll's scalp, wherever there's a predetermined hole. I'm choosing right here. And there we go. Now don't pull really tight, but pull tight enough to where it does come out. You see that right there? Now I don't use glue at the end of my reroots. I just don't feel the need to. I think it's kind of an unnecessary step if you do it this way. Exactly. See how I wrap it around my finger, and it's a very tiny strand of hair. The reason why you want it small, it's going to be wrapped around itself, and look how thick it is now compared to how skinny it is. This is the desired width of the strand itself. I'm going to place it in between the fork again, put my finger on top, pull taut. I'm going to go into the other predetermined hole right here, and there we are. Now you might be wondering why I don't use glue, and that's because, like I said, it's not necessary for me. When I'm doing these dolls, I don't want to put anything in them that is nearly irreversible. So let's say, for instance, I'm restoring a doll. I like the hair color that I'm using. I've done the research and I think it's the best hair color ever. But let's say Shandy Poo Poo goes out and buys my doll. She doesn't like it. She'd rather this blonde be brunette. She can try to take out that hair if I put glue in it, but it's going to be a hassle and you might actually hurt the doll. And who's to say that later on that glue might not start to seep out of the doll's hair, or may irritate the doll's vinyl and make it decompose faster. I don't want to do that. So what I do is I skip that step entirely, and right after I'm finished doing a reroot, I will boil wash this doll's head and hair. And why I do that is because when you put a doll's vinyl appendage, whether it be an arm, a leg, or a head, and let's say it has an imperfection like a dent on it, when you put it into hot water, that hot water basically puts the plastisol back in its factory setting. So however that mold was, however it was molded into, it's going to bounce back. So say like all these holes right here, I've not boil washed this doll, by the way, yet. I've not boil washed this doll's head. If I were to do it right now, there would be holes, but they would be very fine and I couldn't see them. But whenever I boil wash this doll after I reroot, it's going to make the holes tighter and it's going to kink up the knots that's inside of the doll's head. And that way, you don't need glue. Check that out. So if you follow these steps, like I said, it'll be super, super easy for you. Your first reroot might take you a little bit longer than somebody's second and or third. And don't get discouraged if anything wrong happens. Just remember to have fun and to just feel free with it and be free with it. And trust your better judgment. So just keep all of that in mind when doing your reroot. This can be a lot of fun. It can be almost therapeutic. I'm gonna go ahead and get all of her hair done. If you would like to learn about thatching and doing your doll's hair, I have a separate video in my restoration tutorials. So we are going to do this Barbie doll's lashes, and we're also going to be doing a partial reroot in the back. Just right here, she has a couple plugs missing. Is it distracting from how she looks? No. Will it affect her original hairstyle? No, but I am a doll doctor, and if I see something, especially something that I plan on restoring for somebody else, even if it is just a little itty bitty thing, I want to try to make this doll as whole as possible while also keeping its original integrity. Now, I am not a huge fan of sparse eyelashes, especially ones that are bent and all jagged and they're all uneven like this. This could have happened for a number of reasons. It could have been the child was, plucking the eyelashes. It could be that it was sitting on something for the longest time after the child was done playing with it. It could be from just falling out, it could be from breakage, it could be from any of those things combined. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reroot them, and I'm going to make them look as original and as beautiful and luscious as I possibly can. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the head. I don't know if my camera will show, but you can see the little roots on the inside. And I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm just going to go in where the eye is, and I'm going to tweeze them all out from the inside. Ew. And that is what they look like whenever you rip them out. They honestly look like pubes.
I'm sorry, it just hit me just now.
It's pretty gross. And if you have any little difficult ones, you're more than welcome to try this method because they come out just like that as well. But unless you get the full roots from the inside, it's going to be a little bit harder. Just like this. You see like how it's giving me tension like that? Pulling on it enough will get it out just the same, but you see that tension right there? You don't really want that tension because that could rip the vinyl. So you just want to go in and do your best to get rid of it that way. So for this, you will need your rerooting tool again. Hello, my old friend. Now, like I said previously, you can either make this yourself or you can go out and buy an official rerooting tool. I do recommend making your own needles. It's a lot cheaper. I remember when I first started, I thought that you had to have specific needles, and you really don't. All you have to do, honestly, is just trim your own needles. And if you try to buy it online, like they try to charge you like $14 for like 3 needles, and are you serious? Like for instance, look at this price, and on top of that you have to pay shipping. And look, you get more needles over here at Walmart for $5.99 with free shipping. You could do it yourself. You can literally take some pliers and cut them with some wire cutters, and then boom, you've got your little prongs ready to go. So with eyelashes compared to the hair strands, the eyelashes are going to be a lot thinner. Now, do you see this right here? This would be kind of cute to put in the hair, but this is not going to be good to put in the lashes. We'll show you how thin you want your eyelashes to be. This is how thin you want them to be. This is just 3 strands of hair. Okay, and you wrap it around like so, just like we did with the other one. Okay, put it in the prong, place your finger on top, pull taut. There we go. Now we're going to find the little hole, which is right there. Plug it in, and there you go. This is how thick you want them to be. You do not want them to be super thick. If you are going for an original look, you do not need them to be super thick. There is nothing more distracting than a twist and turn Barbie with ultra thick lashes, because then you just know she's had work done. And like I said, the original goal to restoration is to restore the integrity, not make a one of a kind, but restore the integrity. We don't want her looking like this. We want her looking like this, because going from this to this is not an upgrade. No, we much prefer this. And I hope that helps you try to understand. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to find the hole and plug it in. See how thin that is? But it's all going to add up. And whenever it's done, you will see such a beautiful difference. Okay, now I will be back whenever it is all rooted. We have her eye done. I'm going to show you how I cut them. I just take them in my hand like so. I take my scissors and I cut at an angle, just like so. So we're gonna go this angle right here. And we're just gonna trim it just a bit. Okay, and there we go. Beautiful, lush, original looking lashes. Okay, so now I've got these lashes done. They're going to cut. The ends are a little bit too long. So just gonna, there we go. And that is perfect. Now these lashes look original. You will find really dark black nylon lashes on the really hard-headed talking Barbies from the early 70s. But usually dolls with Japan-made heads or squishier vinyl heads will always have the brunette hair lashes. This method also will work on partial reroots. And a partial reroot is like, say for instance, your doll is missing a hair plug, like right here, she's missing 6 hair plugs. And this will be what a partial reroot is. You're not rerooting the entire head, you're only rerooting a partial section. And luckily for me, this doll's section is right back here. So I could really reroot it with any hair color that I find. And I found a hazelnut, which is this doll's original hair color. And you can kind of see how the color has changed over the years. Do you see how dark this new hazelnut is compared to this old hazelnut color? Now these are 2 different manufacturers, 2 different types of saran. This one's a new saran. This one is, what, 60 years old, just about. And remember, whenever I said you want to make it the same thickness as your other hair roots. So her hair roots, her rooting is very sparse, but the hair that she does have is pretty thick. We're going to take our strands and make them a little bit thicker. Okay, now Barbie has luscious thick hair. When you boil wash this doll, which I've yet to do, but it will make the vinyl shrink back up in the back, and you will need no glue, no mess, no fuss. She's ready to go. In the next video, join me as I teach you how to recolor Barbie doll vinyl. And it doesn't matter what kind of Barbie you have, whether she be old, whether she be new. These are 4 different ways that you can recolor your doll vinyl. So stay tuned for that. But coming up next,
Barbie and the Green Bestie.
in this next video, join me as we review one of the brand new Barbie lines. I do have a lot to say. I have a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts about this doll, and I can't wait to share them with you. There's been little controversies about this doll line so far, that it looks a little too much like Ever After High, that it might be competing with Bratz, or that it might be their new version of a My Scene tape. We will get into it and so much more in the next video.